Hello and welcome to the Change Gang podcast with me, your host, Laura Ordile. I'm here to help you hold on to your sanity and your soul as you move through big change. I'm here to guide you from frustration to flow in your life, bridging the practical and the woo, just for you. Let's go. All right, welcome to the week, Change Gang. And I have an amazing Niki Kinsella with me today. We're going to chat all about some intuition and chakra information that I think is super cool. Niki is an intuitive, spiritual, and business coach for women. Says her specialty is helping woo-loving female entrepreneurs to remove limiting beliefs, get out of their own way, feel freaking amazeballs, and smash the shizzle out of in a way that sets their soul and business on fire. It makes me laugh just saying it, but I love that you offer people, let's share our shizzle and talk about all that fun stuff and who we are. And I love that you share yours in such a beautiful way. Thanks for being here, Niki.
Thank you for having me. It's lovely to be here. It's so important that we share and we share other people as well. It's not just about us.
No, it is. It is. Well, and I mean, the whole human experience is about connection. People talk often about, I want to go live in the woods and not have to talk to anybody and do the thing. And a lot of people kind of got that wish over the last few years where we weren't able to be around people.
Yeah.
And then having to reconnect again and come back into the world. So I think sharing that and being out there is so important right now, especially kind of coming back to life and rebooting.
Reconnection, isn't it?
It is. And we need that as humans. I don't care what anybody says. You can talk about wanting to go live in the woods and live by yourself forever, but you're going to want that connection with another living being in some way, shape, or form, just because that's who we are.
I read something the other day and it says you need 8 hugs a day for optimum health. And I was like, there we go. So when the kids come home from school, I'm like, how many hugs have you had? And they're like, about 3. And I'm like, grabbing them and giving them hugs.
We're a hugging family too. It's always, I mean, I'll meet somebody and I hug them, and there's people out there who that throws them, and it's like, oh yeah. Like, oh yeah, sorry. I don't apologize, but it makes me laugh when people kind of, they get stiff or they don't know how to respond or they don't know what to do. And that's just what we do.
So, hugger.
I wanted to dive into it a little bit and talk with you because one of the things you do that I love is you kind of connect, but you do a chakra journey and kind of opening up and clearing some chakras. And I want to talk about that a little bit today. And you do that also with intuition, bringing in intuition, but it's all for not only to be kind of in that woo world, but you do it for practicality, to move yourself forward, to open the door to the things that you want, to bring yourself into a direction. And I often say, people always say, ooh, open up that sixth sense. And I'm like, yeah, actually intuition is your first sense, because from intuition comes the information, and it uses your other senses to try and give you that information. So you get the information at that intuitive level, and then it's shared with you through those other senses. Do you feel like that's kind of the way that it comes for you?
So the way I've described it is, have you ever gone to go in a room and you haven't even opened the door yet and all your spidey senses are going off and they're like, don't go in. And you're like, what? What do you mean don't go in? And you're like, everything in your body is telling you not to open that door, but your head goes, open the door, go in the room. So you ignore everything that you're feeling and you open the door and there's that person, the one that you've been avoiding for the last 6 months that you used to work with that you couldn't stand and then they're like, oh, hello, like the energy vampire, and they've got you there for like the whole, so, but if you'd have just listened, you know, your body picks up, our energy speaks before we do. We can feel what other people say, especially I think probably a lot of your listeners will identify as empaths as well, where we can read a room without needing to speak to anybody. You just know what's going on because you can feel it before people speak. But our intuition, it's like our inner tuition, it's our inner teacher, it's our internal compass, our guide. It's called loads of things, isn't it? But I think if we can learn to trust ourselves again, because we've lost that. We've been told to think about everything and everything's logical. Whereas if we just strip that back for a minute and stop worrying about what might happen if we trust ourselves. Like I've made honestly some of the best decisions based on how I've felt. because it's excited me and it's been the right decision, because I've just been like all giddy and oh my God, I felt really sick. That's another good sign. So fear and excitement feel the same, but I think sometimes when it's a really big fear, because you know the outcome could be potentially really big. So for example, I've just signed up for another program and it was a big investment, but I know the potential outcome is, or like the return on investment is about 9 times what I've invested, but it still makes me feel sick because I'm thinking, am I scared of success? Why don't I want to do it? What's it showing me? Why do I want to stay here? And then it like reflects things back. So I think we can use all of these things as our teachers and our guides, but we just need to know how to spot them. And I think that's what you and I are good at helping people to do, is like reconnect back to what it feels like for them, because it's not the same for everyone. So when I'm teaching Reiki to my clients and they're like, is this right? I'm like, well, how does it feel? What do you feel? Well, I feel like this. Well, then that's it. Oh, okay. And it's not, you can't get it wrong.
I love that. Yeah, because it's an awareness. When you come into the awareness of what it feels, that's, people often ask, how do you tell the difference between intuition or what's a fear or what's this? And I see, when you start to play with your intuition and you start to move into it, you'll notice you might walk by that glass on the counter and think, oh, I should move that or it's going to break. And you either do that or you ignore it. But then if you ignore it, and 10 minutes later, that glass comes crashing down, you can go, oh, that was my intuition. What did that feel like? And you can come into the awareness of those moments of just fleeting thought or intuition. So different. And something you said too, yes, I think people with empathy, it's so interesting. And I learned something a while back that I thought was so spot on and so interesting. I had someone share the difference with some people who often you hear, I'm so empathic, I can't be in a room, I can't do this, I can't do that. And they said, well, actually, I was talking to someone and they said, there's a difference between being a sympath and being an empath. And I was like, what? Little doggy ears kind of tilt to the head. What? And they said, well, actually, so many people are sympathic. They take on all of the energy that's around them because they don't know any different. So they're wide open. They're feeling all the energy. It can be very overwhelming. They don't know how to manage it. That's a sympath. They're feeling everything. An empath is someone who manages that energy, who is able to use that energy in a good way and notice, hey, I'm going into this room with someone difficult. Now I need to prepare myself going forward. Or they kind of encase themselves in their own energy and open up for the use of their work. Maybe they do need to work intuitively or to help that person in the best possible way, but they don't get lost in the energy. And I think that's some of what you teach in different words, but you teach people how to navigate the energies of what they're feeling and what they're doing. And sometimes you do that.
That was an amazing explanation. Never thought of it like
isn't it? It's true. I know. It was like, oh my gosh. And I never forgot that. And now I see it all the time with people and they're like, I'm overwhelmed and I can't. And you're just being a little too more sympathetic. You just need to learn to be the empath, to manage the energies, to be in it and use it in a way that it's meant to be used, because we're meant to use that. We're meant to get a feel for the room, a feel for the person that we're working with, to have that energy exchange when it's in the right time and place, and to also be able to have the energy be directed somewhere else and not be the sponge that gets so overwhelmed.
A boundary, isn't it? It's putting that boundary up and being like, I will hear you, but I'm not going to take that on. I will not let you suck my soul out. It's like Harry Potter with the Dementors, where they just suck the soul out your face. But it's up to you whether that happens or not. So the minute you feel that happening, there's tools that you can use to stop that from happening. But just going back to the intuition, I think a lot of people don't trust that about themselves. So they hear, so I'm clairaudient, so I'll hear things before they happen. So like move that glass. So you either move it or you don't. But when you hear it, I started to write things down to prove that things were happening afterwards. So, for example, my daughter was at Aerial, where with the silks, and the teacher was there with one of the other girls, and she was demonstrating with this girl, and in my ear really loud I heard, "She's gonna fall." And I looked because it felt like one of the parents had said it, and I was like, that's not a very nice thing to think. Anyway, and I thought, there's no way she's gonna fall. She's wrapped, she knows what she's doing, the teacher's there underneath her. Anyway, within 10 seconds she got her foot stuck. She unravelled, and the teacher had moved around the other side and couldn't catch it, and she hit the deck. And I was like, oh, and I almost jumped up and went, I knew that was going to happen. But it didn't. It didn't look like a right knob. But that was one of the biggest moments for me. And I was like, oh my God, I knew that. I knew that was going to happen. So if you do get those little nudges and you want to play and lean more into your intuition, maybe every time you hear something or you see something or you feel it, like there's different clairaudiences and clairsenses, just keep a little note of it. And then when it happens, you can go, I didn't make it up. Because you'll think you thought it was going to happen, and your brain will go, oh no, because it's not logical. It can't have happened like that. But actually it does, doesn't it? But understanding your own energy and protecting yourself from other people's and being able to have boundaries is absolutely massive. Like, I was conditioned from being born to be a little people pleaser. My nan was a narcissist, and then I found my own when I was 19 and married one. And I just did what I needed to do to keep myself safe my whole life and just pleased everybody. Didn't know what my favourite colour was. Didn't know if I liked this or liked that until I was about 20. No, I was older. I think I was in my 30s, and then all of a sudden I started thinking, hang on a minute. And then losing me biological dad and my mum really close together woke me up and made me take notice, like what was and wasn't happening. But yeah, it's when we can say no and not feel like a big bitch, because it's absolutely okay for us to say no if we don't want to do something, but we're so worried, aren't we, of being rejected or not liked or judged or whatever if we don't do the thing, that we often put other people before ourselves, because we'd rather feel the discomfort than give anybody else even a little bit of discomfort.
That's so true. And we do. And I love the comment, no, I say no, thank you. But no is a full sentence. You know, you don't have to explain yourself. You can say no, thank you, and then move on. It's okay. And it doesn't mean that it just means it wasn't right for you in the moment. That's okay. Why should you do something that's going to make you uncomfortable and bring your energy into a space that's not going to be beneficial to you? Sometimes we have to do things that are difficult, but we never have to give our own energy away to anything. You might be in a job you don't love. That's fine, but you choose your happiness. You choose how you're going to react and be in that day. And you can choose to be miserable for 8 or 10 hours or whatever in the day at that job. Or you can choose to go, I'm going to get my work done. I'm going to find the happiness somewhere in my own mind and live in that moment regardless of what's going on. That's one of my biggest things that I love to give people, is that center, that no matter what's going on around them, they can be okay.
Yeah, and we've always got the power, haven't we? We've always got the choice. Like, I think for a long time, I felt like I needed permission to do things, and I had to ask before I could do anything, until I realised that actually I don't need permission. I can do whatever I want. And that set me free. Like, one of my very first business coaches said to me, you don't need permission. And it was like shackles coming off my wrist. And I was like, oh my God, this is my life. This is my business. I get to choose what I'm doing, because it's not up to anybody else. But yeah, it's just knowing that. And I think meditation, it gets a lot of eye rolls, doesn't it? It gets a bit of a bad rap, but meditation saved my life and just completely changed me. So in any moment now, if I get overwhelmed, I shut my eyes and I go in, and I'm like, I'm here, I'm safe. I am happy, and all the little things that just keep you grounded, feeling your feet on the floor. I was on a really, really busy train last week, and it was so noisy. And you know, when you can feel your anxiety going up and up, and you're like, oh my God. And there was so much. There was like drunk people and school kids and animals and everything on this train. So I just popped my headphones in and just closed my eyes, and I was like, it's okay. I'm in my bubble now. So just having little tools like that, isn't it? To just know that you can always escape wherever you are. And
where do the chakras come into play?
I love the chakras. They were the very beginning of my journey. So Reiki found me about 10 years ago, longer now, about 12 years ago. And I didn't understand. I knew a little bit about energy, and I'd always been a bit woo curious, like peeking out the spiritual closet, but I've never really dipped my toe in. So when I started learning about Reiki and understanding each of the chakras and each of what they did, how, the signs that they're off balance and the little whispers that your body's trying to give you or screaming at your mind was that I hadn't ever listened to. So I constantly had a sore throat. I was born without any tonsils, which is a bit weird, but I've got 2 dangly bits at the back of my throat instead of 1. So I got them instead of tonsils. But I always had really sore throat and I always had a sore lower back. I always had sciatica or something was wrong with my back. And that's because I never felt safe and I could never speak my truth. And that blew my mind because now I never get a sore back and I never get a sore throat. And then every day I can tap into my body and go, right, I'm feeling this here. What does that mean? Well, it means this. Okay. And it's like a little guide, but helping people to understand the signs that their body's given them to show them that they're off balance. Chest pain can be grief, or if you need to forgive someone or you're holding on to something, or the energy work that I do, I believe that when you feel an energy at the back of someone, it's an old emotion that needs clearing and it can be trapped and feel heavy and, like a lead weight, and sometimes just talking that out. But often what I find is that our throat chakra's got like a cork in it. We've just been bunged and all of this energy is trying to come out, which it can't. So it causes an inflammation, which causes a dis-ease within the body. So if you think of energy, emotions as energy in motion, and when we can't express our energy properly, or we can't express how we feel, if it's not safe, or we've held things down, we've not looked at stuff and we've shoved it all down, it happens. Our body, like fibromyalgia, has been linked to unhealed trauma. Because the body's so inflamed, it's gone, actually, fuck this, poof, and just develop fibro. It's insane. We're so connected.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you just said one of the things that I tell people, because I go in and clear trauma at that subconscious level, and people don't understand that it can cause physical issues, fibromyalgia, IBS, chronic fatigue, migraines, anxiety, all of that stuff can come from things that maybe it happened when you were 2 years old or a year old or something, and it's there, but you don't remember. So if you don't think about it, it's like, how could something that old be affecting me now? But it does.
Oh, the chakras develop in ages and stages as well. So your root chakra is between 0 and 7, which is your safety and your security. And then you've got your sacral, which is between 7 and 14, which is like your connection and your belonging, where you find your tribe. And then your ego and your solar plexus is your center of self. So who are you? That's when you're a teenager and you're trying to fit in or find out who you are. Your heart is 28 upwards, and then it's just sort of you develop your spiritual awareness from here, but you never really, not fall in love, but your heart is all about forgiveness and not being jealous and just loving yourself and giving and receiving love in that way with maturity, I think. And then obviously your throat and everything. But when you look at these foundational chakras, like your bottom 3, they're all earth elements. It's earth, water, fire. And then it goes into air, and then these are like etheric energies, but it blows me mind. And when you explain to people for the first time and they go, I've got that symptom. Oh my God, that happened to me. Oh shit. And they're like, yeah, your body's like going, hello, knocking on the door from the inside.
Yeah, I didn't know that about the ages with the chakra. Thank you. That's so fascinating. I had no idea. That's interesting to me. Yeah, and I'm also an astrologer, and I'm all about that. When you talk about kind of being in the feelings and stuff, that's so funny because often people, I have a lot of air signs in my chart, and air signs are so amazing at talking about things. Talk. They'll talk. But it's funny because they'll talk about their feelings, but they won't take the time to feel the feelings because they don't think they have time. But what's incredible about feelings is it's just allowing it to flow through you, to acknowledge it, to be aware of it. You don't have to be sitting soaking in it for hours or days or anything. It's an allowance of just feeling it, coming into the awareness of the emotion. And oftentimes that clears things. It might come back, but if you take the moment to clear it again, to acknowledge it again, flows through you just like water. Water's the emotion. And if you know that water flows, it's clear and bright and energetic and going to give you. If it's stuck and you don't allow that flow, it gets stagnant, it gets old, it gets uncomfortable.
Well, I'm Cancer Sun, Cancer Moon, Pisces rising. don't need to say anymore. I'm just pure emotion. I'm an emotional authority in my human design as well. So I'm here to feel everything. But what you just said about some people are too scared to acknowledge it. And sometimes when you've shoved it down, you've got to feel it to heal it. It's got to come back out. So you have to acknowledge it. It just wants to be felt, doesn't it? To be released.
But it just can be a quick, it can be seconds or a minute, or it doesn't have to be like this big, deep sinking into the emotions. That's not how we're meant to live anyway. We're meant to experience something and move through it, move on. Experience it, move through it, move on. That energetic flow of being in the world and not be stuck in anything. If we're stuck in something, in sadness and depression, and we're in that loop, then there's something wrong. Because we're not meant to be stuck in anything. We're meant to be experiencing everything, I think.
I love that. Absolutely love that. It's just, and like you say, when you're stuck, if you feel stuck, that can be your sacral chakra. Like, where aren't you experiencing joy? Like, when you're trapped in an emotion, have a little look at that. Where do you need to find more joy and it's also, what are you denying yourself? What pleasures? It's our pleasure center, isn't it? And that's another thing that we don't talk about, which actually an orgasm balances all of your chakras. So
yeah. There you go. Oh, biggest tip of the day right there.
Anyway, I want to balance my chakras.
Oh, that's perfect. No, you do that. Tell everybody in your group that. Okay, now this is all balancing the chakras. I love that. No, go ahead. Is there anything that you'd like to share that I haven't really touched on about the chakras that's kind of important for people to know?
I just think that there's so many layers to each of the chakras. So they've all got like a color, frequency, there's essential oils and foods and flowers, and there's all different things that can be linked to each of the chakras in different ways to realign and rebalance, and different signs and symptoms. And again, for what I believe intuitively, some of the chakras hold hands. So when I'm doing a healing session, I'll be shown two at the same time. And I'm like, oh, what does that mean? And we can be affected by so many different things in so many different ways. We've just got to trust how we feel, which cannot be very nice sometimes, because the things that are coming up to be released. I was talking to someone the other day and she was like, I just don't know why I'm sad. And I said, but why do you need to know? Why can't you just sit with the feeling and tell yourself you're safe and have a bloody good whinge? Let it all out. And she was like, oh, do you know what? I'm going to do that. And if you think about, in my experience, what happens is people get to a safe space and then the body goes, have this. She's safe now. We can get rid of it all. And just like the person is like, I'm the happiest I've ever been. I don't know why I feel like this. And it's because your body knows that you're safe now. So it's ready to release all of the old trapped emotions and the trauma that comes up. So you don't ever need a reason to feel a certain way. However you feel, whenever you feel it is fine. But like what we were just talking about, sometimes they just want to be acknowledged. So if there's an emotion, just let it be, but don't let it consume you. Move your body, let it.
Absolutely. And I think that so when you are tapping into those energies and you are tapping into that and clearing it, then it's like this breath of fresh air that comes and you're like, oh, wow, that's a whole different energy. And you're feeling something so different and so beautiful. I mean, it's like it clears the sludge. And then it's like, oh my goodness, dancing around out in this field feeling like, wow, does that mean there won't ever be sludge in there again? No, there might be something else that comes in that you clear out and process new, right?
Absolutely. I call it a slug and a hose. So if you think of the hose, all nice and clear, the water comes out the end, that's all of our energy. But if a little slug crawls in there during the night and then gets stuck, when we try and turn the water on, it can't flow and it dribbles out the end, and that's like our energy.
Yeah, that's right. That's true though. But when you're keeping things flowing, it's so much easier to clear that slug all along the way. I mean, it doesn't get stuck for a long period of time. It's just like it goes away so much faster.
It's amazing. Yeah, it does. And the more we practice, like every day I give myself a bit of Reiki, especially when I'm going to sleep. I have a hand on my heart and a hand on my belly, and I go through the day and I just practice gratitude. So all the things that I'm grateful for that day, and I try and go to sleep like that. Sometimes I get intrusive, like, oh my God, you haven't done this, or oh my God, you haven't done that. I'm like, that's okay. I have a pen and paper next to my bed. I just write things down. There they are. I'm not going to lose them now. And I go back
And I love that you do all this. You do all of these things to help people move forward in their life, in their business, in every way possible. And I think that combination is so important to us because sometimes people are told or get trapped in the fact of, well, you have to be this way to be in business. Don't bring that fluff. Don't bring that woo in. People aren't going to respond to that. And you're showing everyone that's not true. That's absolutely not true. And I love that. Thank you for
saying that. That means the world. And I think I feel like in the last 2 years, I've really stepped into myself and I've stopped giving a shit about what people think. And I've started talking more about the squirrels in my head and just having more fun, but making it very real as well. But it doesn't need to be serious. And I think when you're you and I'm me, we attract the right people to us because we're shining our own light. Not everyone's for everyone, are they? And I don't want everyone. I haven't got time. I need to just have the right people. So yeah, but thank you for saying that.
Yeah. So is there anything special you have going on or anything you want to share with everyone out there? And of course, please tell everyone how to connect with you. But if you have something special that you want to share, I'd love for you to do that.
So I'm just actually today or tomorrow launching book collaboration. I'm looking for 12 to 15 authors or want to be authors that have got an empowering story that they want to share to be part of my next book, which is going to be called She Empowers. That's going on. And then I've got a retreat in England in June also called She Empowers, which is all about working through the chakras, shifting all the shit, all the limiting beliefs, and then an empowering fire walk on the Sunday. And I'm franchising my business. That's the even biggest, most exciting thing as part of my business is franchising. So the spiritual school that I run called the Healing Academy, I've run it for the last 2 years and it's been really successful. So I'm franchising it and I've got my first franchisee and we start in April. So if anyone's interested in having their own spiritual business under the Healing Academy brand and having me stuck in the pocket, then I'd love to chat.
That's incredible. So, that business in a kit handed to you and here you go, you get to run with it. That's crazy awesome.
Oh, it's a whole year of training. It's going to be between 9 and 12 months of actual training through all the modalities. And then it would be your business, obviously under the Healing Academy brand. But it's so exciting because I can't reach as many people as I want to reach on my own. So I think creating, a sisterhood of heart-led women that want to change the world through holistic healing is like my mission now. So I'm so excited. And you can find me on Facebook and Instagram as Niki Kinsella. I've got a free group called The Feminine Energy Guide and a book called The Feminine Energy Guide. And my website is nikikinsella.com.
Yeah, and they can get the book on Amazon. Super easy. Our world is Amazon anymore, isn't it? Well, you can probably find it in some of the local stores too. Go look first if you can find local and then go there. But thank you so much, Niki, for being here with me today. I so appreciate it. It's such a fun conversation and so easy to I think I could sit here and talk to you for 2 more hours, but gotta go live the life out there. So thank you. And Change Gang, I hope that you enjoyed the conversation. I hope that you go and follow her and learn more about igniting the chakras, balancing the chakras, finding out about your own voice in your life. And I look forward to meeting you right here, same time next week. I hope today's episode was interesting to you in some way and fun. If so, hey, find someone to share it with. Maybe they need to hear it too, or maybe they'll just enjoy it. If you'd like, go ahead and grab my tips on supercharging your success. It includes a free short meditation to do just that. You can find that at bit.ly/supercharge your success. Until next time, happy day.